It's important that young people really pay attention to how they're feeling and what their body's trying to tell them.
If they become symptomatic, then that's the only way that we really know that they're doing too much.
One of the biggest things we've learned over the last few years has been most people will recover and will recover well as long as the head doesn't get hit again while they're recovering.
So there are some important things that we like to tell all of our patients. Those include things like no climbing on anything.
I like to keep people off of anything with wheels, make sure they keep their feet on the ground.
Also staying away from contact sports. That's just too high risk during this time, and because of changes in reaction time, processing speed and balance increases their risk for re-injury, which is something we're really trying to avoid.
The typical guidelines that I like to use are no more than 2 hours of screen time throughout the day, and when you're dealing with students, that can be very difficult.
Often kids want to know, when can I use my phone and when can I use my computer? If it increases their symptoms and makes their headaches worse, that's something we really do want to avoid. But if they can tolerate it for short periods of time, like 15 or 20 minutes, it's not likely to be harmful to the patient from anything we know at this point.
Early on, especially around 2 days of physical and mental rest, really seems to be key.
We want to make sure that we allow that brain to have that cognitive rest. We want to allow the body to have physical rest, but we also want to make sure that we don't isolate the patient from their peer groups, from their friends, from their other activities, because if we do that for too long, then what we find is that we run into other issues such as depression, isolation, and these can in fact enhance or create a prolonged recovery.
Strict rest following a concussion is something that we kind of went through a time period where people thought it was perhaps important.
We now know that early activity does tend to enhance the recovery process, but again we have to find that fine balance between doing too much too soon and not doing enough.
It's really not necessary from any of our current research to lock the patient in a room or have them completely in a darkened environment away from all stimuli. It actually may reinforce them being in a sick role, and that's not something we want to encourage.
As people can tolerate more activity, it's important to re-engage physical activity. We've learned that if you keep physical activity shut down for too long, especially in somebody who's normally athletic, then we actually slow down recovery as well. We want to allow enough contact and enough stimulation to support recovery, but not so much that we're pulling it back.
But rest is still important. Getting a good night's sleep, taking naps if necessary, good nutrition, all of those things likely contribute to a positive recovery.
There's also some areas that we aren't quite sure exactly how much is too much, and that's where the symptoms come in.
Having them keep a symptom log of what kinds of things are happening before and after their headaches, or before and after their dizziness spells, or perhaps their vision difficulties, can be really helpful in understanding what kinds of modifications you can make to facilitate their recovery.
In general, when it comes to symptoms in concussion recovery, if it hurts, don't do it.